I am going to, here we go, pass it over to Beth so we can start introducing our new national staff members that we have joining us here.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Y'all, I am so excited. It has been a long time coming. And you're going to hear about some amazing folks that have joined our team. And I am just so pleased to kick it off and start by introducing you to our new Senior Director of Operations. Her name is Camille Greer. Camille, it is her first week at Mothers Out Front. So put some emojis in the chat and welcome her. We're so happy to have Camille. Just a little bit about Camille's background. For around 8 years, Camille has worked in the progressive space, helping nonprofits scale up, develop infrastructure, and sustainably pursue their mission. Most recently, she worked at a St. Louis-based racial justice movement building organization called We Power, where she served as a member of the leadership team and stewarded the organization through significant growth and change, including the launch of 2 affiliated entities and a $1 million budget increase. Prior to this, Camille helped expand arts opportunities for BIPOC and underserved youth as the first administrative hire for Southern Word, the largest spoken word youth development organization in the Southeast. In her role, she doubled the number of students served through workshops and oversaw all programmatic, financial, and operations functions, empowering student poets to speak out about the issues closest to them, such as mental health, gun violence, and racial injustice. Camille is passionate about creating the conditions for a more equitable society where all communities can thrive and believes addressing climate justice is a crucial factor in creating change. She has a degree in human and organizational development from Vanderbilt University and is an alumni of the Education Pioneers Fellowship. Outside of work, Camille enjoys playing music, reading, and exploring the outdoors with her family. So I hope that you will join me in welcoming Camille. And Camille, I'd love for you just to kick off and maybe let everybody know, how's this first week been? Have we totally overwhelmed you? It seems like you're jumping in. I know that you're a cake person, right? As opposed to a pie person. So how has it been for you this first week here at Mothers Out Front?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everyone, so much for that warm welcome. Saw the comments in the chat. That was amazing. But I've had a wonderful first week, really getting to jump in and meet so many members of the team. There's a lot of growth going on at Mothers Out Front, so it's a really exciting time. And I'm just loving getting to dig in, and I hope to get to know more of you as time goes on.
That's so awesome. Tell me, how long have you lived in Tennessee? Are you a resident of Tennessee lifelong, or did you move there?
So I'm not a lifelong resident of Tennessee. I'm actually from the Midwest, so Cleveland, Ohio area. But I've been in Tennessee now for about 11 years. So I'm in Nashville, the sort of blue spot in the red state.
Awesome. And what is something that you're looking forward to now that you're starting to get to know the team and all of that kind of stuff? What's something that you're looking forward to here at Mothers Out Front?
Definitely great question. I'm really looking forward to us going through sort of the more part 2 of our strategic plan. So I know we're going to do a lot of kickoff beginning January, early jumping into OKRs. So I'm really excited for that goal setting. And then just continuing to meet new team members. So there are 3 of us who came on this week, and I know there's going to be many more in the coming weeks. So really just looking forward to that.
Awesome. And can you tell us why cake is a better dessert than pie?
Yeah, so cake, I mean, there's just really so many options. You can't go wrong because you have the cream options like key lime pie, and then you have the rich options like chocolate cake. I mean, I feel like pie, also there's too much bread. You got like not enough sugar. So I feel like cake is just the overall best option.
And that is why we hired her, y'all. She was team cake from the very beginning. Camille, anything else that you want to share with the folks before I introduce Jenny?
I think that's about it, but just want to say I'm happy to be here and support you guys, and looking forward to learning more about all the initiatives.
Awesome. Camille, we're so happy to have you on the team. Welcome to Mothers Out Front.
Thanks.
The second person that I am very thrilled to introduce you to is Jenny Zimmer, who is our new Senior Director of Campaigns and Organizing. Give it up for Jenny in the chat. Jenny is an experienced organizer, campaign manager, and program manager based in Greensboro, North Carolina. She got her start organizing as a college student, fighting Kohl Corporation's influence in St. Louis. That's a recurring theme, St. Louis, yay. And was trained at the Green Corps Field School for Organizing, where she fought coal and gas projects in North Texas. At 350.org and 350 Action, Jenny helped grow and train an energized national climate community, from channeling the boiling energy of the youth fossil fuel divestment movement to fighting fossil fuel infrastructure, to putting political candidates in the hot seat on their climate policy. In 2020, she turned her energy to the crisis of democracy and co-founded the pop-up anti-coup project, Choose Democracy. She spent the past 3 years as organizing director with Represent Us, working across party lines to pass meaningful democracy reforms at the local and state level. Jenny is the mother of 2 awesome and hilarious little kids, Omi and Towns. She spends her non-organizing hours making pottery, cooking, and enjoying the beauty of North Carolina. So please join me in welcoming Jenny Zimmer to our team as this is a brand new role, Senior Director of Campaigns and Organizing. Jenny, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. And y'all may hear some little kids in the background. They love when I have night calls because they get to watch movies. So that's what's happening right now. But yeah, I was talking to my partner about what to share with y'all tonight. I'm so thrilled to be joining this team and to meet all of you. And I was thinking, I got my start organizing, as Beth said, as a college student. Like, I was barely an adult myself. And really got to spend some time building amazing local groups led by leaders who are really passionate about the campaigns they were working on, who are eager for training, and who really were able to, change the landscape of the climate movement. And there's nothing I believe in more than people working together towards a common goal. I think in the past few years, the motivation behind my organizing has changed a lot. When you start organizing at 18, there's a lot of self-righteousness and anger and, being the subject of your own story. And since 2020, having my daughter, I remember having a lot of conversations about hope versus fear, and the choice to bring people into the world as a parent, and really sort of agonizing about that choice. And I remember having a conversation with my own mom, and she, she wanted to be a grandma, so she was pushing hard for having kids. And I remember her saying, you work all the time on climate change, and you're fighting so hard for a future that you would want to live in, but you can't imagine a world in which your kids could be the heroes of their own stories. Like, what's going on with that? And it really just reframed my perspective on the role that mothers play, which is, we're not just the people who remember where all the shoes are and, take care of everyone's needs. But we really are the keepers of hope in this world, who are fighting for our kids and all of our kids. And so there really is no group of people that I would rather organize with than the people on this call, to fight for a future that will be a better world for my kids, but for everyone in this world, because when we fight for our kids, we're fighting for us all. And so I'm so grateful to be with you. I can't wait to get into the campaign work together. I know we're not having big strategic conversations on this call, but I'm excited for those conversations soon somewhere with you all. And so thank you for letting me join you. And I guess that's all I'll say. I think I went past 3 minutes.
I think you have been the one that have flip-flopped on us. So cake or pie, which is the better dessert? We're asking everyone. It's very important.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna like break my own rules of having like a clear decision, but this is my new line. Pie in the summer, cake in the winter. I'm sticking to it.
It's a good rule to have. Rules are good. Jenny, we are so excited and honored to have you joining our team. I do want to say to everybody on the call, before I turn it over to Stephanie, I can't quite tell you just how competitive both of these roles were. For Jenny, we had almost close to 600 applicants for that job, and Jenny rose to the top throughout and was our number one pick. And we felt so fortunate that she said yes when we asked her to join our team. And for Camille, y'all, get this, there were close to 2,000 applicants for the senior director of operations. And yet again, Camille was number one throughout. She was the rock star throughout the process. Our staff was so excited to meet her during the interview process, just like they were for Jenny. And so we're just so lucky to have both of you on our team, and helping us lead into the next generation of mothers out front. So thank you. With that, Stephanie, I think you have two pretty awesome people to introduce as well. So may I turn it over to you?
Yes, you're going to turn it over to me to turn it over to David, and then I'm next. But yes, perfect. Let me get my screen share up, and then, all right. Okay, David, I'm passing it over to you.
All righty. Thank you, Stephanie. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. All right. First of all, I have a speaking engagement immediately after this, so I do not want anyone on the staff to be private message others saying, why is David showing us up, trying to dress all professional while the rest of us are not? That is not the case. I have a speaking engagement. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about the outstanding, the wonderful, the talented Bobbi. Bobbi Marcella, she has a quote that she provided for us. Climate issues have been a lifelong priority for me because my mother is a climate activist. But when my first child was born, I started taking more decisive action and devoting more time to the issues. I joined because I believe in that there is no group more dedicated to fighting for their kids' future than moms. Bobbi, fun fact about Bobbi is that Bobbi has been a volunteer, has been a leader amongst our moms in Northern Virginia, has been a leader in our fight for the electric school buses, in acquiring electric school buses in Northern Virginia. So the fact that now she is a part of our staff is extremely exciting for me. I absolutely love Bobbi. I love her spirit. I love her energy. And unfortunately, Bobbi couldn't be here with us because of a scheduling conflict that she had. But we're extremely excited to have Bobbi a part of our team. And she's going to do some great things. Bobbi is our senior campaigner in Northern Virginia. And the senior campaigner is a unique role. And she's the first. She is the first senior campaigner that is hired by Mothers Out Front. The senior campaigner, what is that? How is that unique compared to an organizer? An organizer's role is specifically for trying to get moms energized and focused, or make them be a part of what we're doing. They're a recruiter. Organizer is more of a recruiter and getting moms engaged and getting moms to participate and sign up and be a part of what we're doing. A campaigner is someone who works with me when it comes to structuring our campaigns, our statewide campaigns, the campaigns that are going to be implemented locally in Northern Virginia. So there will be some campaigns that's going to be specifically for Fairfax, specifically for Alexandria, that are unique to that community. Some climate campaigns that are unique to that community, that she's going to work with those moms and help those moms organize and strategize and come up with concrete ideas and plans of action of how they're going to execute, because folks have great ideas, but we need someone in there to actually help them execute those great ideas. So that's what Bobby's going to be doing, and making sure that those campaigns run smoothly and they're executed well. So we're extremely excited about having Bobby a part of our team. Next up, can you switch over to Aaron? It's Aaron Colbert. Aaron, prior to joining the team, Aaron spent the last 5 years working in campaigns and advocacy across Virginia, North Carolina, and Washington, D.C. She is excited to join Mothers Out Front to focus on the urgent work of climate justice. She lives in Virginia with her boyfriend and their 3 cats. This is a judgment-free zone about the 3 cats. Judgment-free zone about the 3 cats. Okay. Fun fact about Aaron. Me and Aaron have worked on major campaigns, like national, like big boy, big girl campaigns, and had no idea we were on the same staff with one another. When you work on big national campaigns, you could be, she could be working on the organizing side. I'm working on the political side, and never shall the two shall meet. Me and Aaron have run into each other on some more local campaigns. We worked on staffs together. But when we started doing our backgrounds on one another, like, hey, you worked on this campaign. Yeah, I did too. But we didn't never meet each other because our departments were so separate from each other. But I'm so glad and I'm so happy. When I first got when I first saw her that she was interviewing for one of the positions, I was like, is that my Aaron? And then when her screen popped up on the Zoom, I was like, yeah, that's my Aaron. So we were extremely happy to have Aaron on our team. And I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let Aaron have the floor. So Aaron, the floor is yours, man.
Thank you, David. It's so nice to meet all of you. I'm super excited to be here. Like David said, I've been in organizing now for the last 5 years. I am admittedly not a parent. I am a former caregiver of a parent, and worked in that role and in healthcare for 5 years. And in 2018 was just really concerned about sort of like the world that we were seeing sort of continuously change, and maybe not for the better. So joined the lovely, lovely world of organizing and have been here ever since. And I'm super excited to join Mothers Out Front specifically because my true north consistently is the intersection of working to dismantle white supremacy and working to combat the climate catastrophe. And I can think of truly no better organization to tackle that true north with than Mothers Out Front. So super excited to be here. And thank you so much for the super warm welcome in the chat. Really appreciate it.
All right, Stephanie, I believe I'm returning the floor back to you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much, David. So nice to hear a little bit more about your story, Aaron, and welcome, Virginia team. I have the wonderful pleasure, and to keep us on time, to introduce our Massachusetts staff that we have. And as you can see, in some of our states, it's 2 staff. In some of our states, it's 1. And I'm so excited to introduce Becca Glenn. She is our interim state manager in Massachusetts. Being part of an organization that is pushing as hard as this moment requires, and with the unique voice of mothers advocating for their children, is the best way I know to respond. Becca shared that she joined because this work we're doing for climate justice has been urgent for 20 years and has now reached the critical stage. It's now or never. I'm going to keep it to the point, Becca, and let you talk about yourself. I know it's one of the most awkward things to ask folks to do, but to just talk about yourself and why you are excited to be here and joining us in the Massachusetts team.
All right. I'm debating whether I should tell you or not that you spelled my last name wrong on this side.
So sorry.
I'm Becca Glenn. I sort of, as I was thinking about, talking to you about my history and how I got into this work, I sort of see doing this work as a personality characteristic. I've kind of always been organizing, and the furthest back I can remember is I was in elementary school, and we had our like first science unit on environmental concerns. This was the 80s, so they were talking about like pollution in the ozone layer. But I came home and I got my two sisters, who I'm guesstimating I would be about 8, so they would have been like 6 and 4. And I organized them, and we got under the cabinet where all my mom's cleaning supplies were. And we went through and we looked at the back of every one to check if it said biodegradable on there. And if it did not say biodegradable, then we slapped. I don't know, those of you who are my age or older might remember that the Poison Control Center back in the day put out these stickers called Mr. Yuck stickers. And it basically was like a smiley face, only the face was going, and it was intended for, small children who couldn't read, to tell them it was dangerous. And so we slapped that sticker on anything that didn't say biodegradable and started harassing my mom that you had to have products that said biodegradable. So I've pretty much been doing this ever since. And didn't know until I was in about my mid-20s that one could get paid to do this. But then I, in 2006, got my first professional job. I've worked for Sierra Club, for Oceana. I've done some social justice work with ACLU and some other folks. And I'm just really, really thrilled to be at Mothers Out Front, and pushing hard to make it happen.
Thank you so much for that, Becca. Man, I forgot, what was the good question you were asking everyone, Beth? What was that question?
Cake or pie?
Oh yeah, cake or pie?
Cake or pie?
I mean, my knee-jerk reaction is cake, but the reason is because I do not like fruit, which, if we're going to get controversial, I know people probably have strong opinions about that. So a lot of pies are fruit-based. There's very few pies I like. However, the ones I do, I might put above cake. So, if you made me pick a side, I'd probably pick team cake, but I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Yes, it is. It's a conflict. Fruit. I mean, okay. I'm not going to get into the debate. We'll move forward. But thank you so much, Becca. Welcome to our team. We're so excited to have you here. I see all the love coming in the chat. And with that, I have the pleasure to introduce Tasha Dawson, who is our senior organizer in Boston. And Tasha shared that she's excited to energize our communities to push decision makers towards child-centered climate justice in order to make extensive progress in the transition to a sustainable society. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Tasha, to share a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. Hello, friends. As Stephanie said, I'm Tasha. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the new Boston senior organizer. I've been doing electoral and nonprofit organizing work for about 6 years now. And I'm really focusing on policy, elections, and the popular education training model. So the idea that no one knows everything, but together we know a lot. And my background lies really heavily within the reproductive justice space. I'm originally from Oklahoma. I moved out here about 2 years ago. I attended the University of Oklahoma, where I got a degree in political science with a focus in election and campaign management. It was also there that I started organizing. I founded this the University of Oklahoma's only reproductive justice group on their campus. And this group focused on mobilizing and educating students in order to really create like a lasting foundation for students in like such a hostile environment. After graduating, I moved on to work on several electoral campaigns, both in Oklahoma and Massachusetts, ranging from city council to state senate. Most recently, I was the training manager with Planned Parenthood's national office, where I developed their training strategy for organizing. I know, as I mentioned, I'm coming into the climate justice space with a lens towards reproductive justice, that idea that every person should be able to decide if, when, and how they have a child. Because as terrible as it is, people are having to make decisions about their bodies, lives, and families based on the current climate crisis, and it really doesn't need to be that way. And so I'm really excited, as Stephanie said, to energize our communities and push decision makers towards child-centered climate justice, especially over these next 10 years, which we know are the most crucial when it comes to addressing the climate crisis long term. And I think, especially as like a young person of color who's organized in red and blue states, I have a really deep and unique understanding of strategic power building and coalition building to drive those decision makers towards justice-centered policy. And some of my favorite tactics to do that are like deep canvassing, storytelling, really specifically education. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this opportunity to work with Mothers Out Front in the Boston community to combat the climate crisis on such a grassroots and local level, with the intention of expanding it to national levels, and really work with folks who care not only about making the planet better for them, but for future generations. In my free time, I build a lot of Legos. If anyone ever wants to talk about that, I have so many. If your children love Legos, I would love to talk and discuss Legos. I also love woodworking, and my cat is my best friend.
Thank you so much for that, Tasha. That really resonated with me. Well, not the cat being my best friend, but reproductive justice being like my pool coming into climate justice. But quick question, pie or cake?
I've been recently converted to a pie person because my partner made a homemade pie with like a homemade crust, and it like warmed up with like just a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Like 10 out of 10. I'd eat that every day if I could.
Yeah, a partner made anything, a pie or a cake, I feel like you end up liking it, unless it's really terrible. Unless it's very terrible. Thank you so much for that, Tasha. Welcome, Tasha. Welcome, Becca. Please continue to share love in the chat. And so this is to the fun part, y'all. So I know that everyone came here maybe with some questions. And so as far as some norms and standards we're going to set for the second half of this, if you have a chat or a question that you're ready for, please share it in the chat now. This allows the guests to kind of organize their thoughts and decide, is this a question I feel like I can answer? So if you could please share that in the chat. And as I give folks some time, we are going to move into some breakouts, and to allow it to make it easier for folks to be able to answer some of these questions. But I just wanted to make some time to see if there's any really juicy ones that we do want to answer in the big group. And I'm bringing my chat up, so if it looks like I'm not looking at the camera, I'm not. All right. I see some folks' eyes wiggling like they could be typing, so I'm just going to give a few more seconds to see if there are. And it doesn't have to be a serious question, you know, it could be something light and fun. All right. I have to hop for a college night at my daughter's school. No worries. Thank you for joining us. There will be a recording, so for anything that you miss. No worries. Thank you, Paul. We will send out the recording afterwards. Thank you, Christine. I see a question come in. It's a really juicy one. I don't know if it's one that the new hires could answer, but the question is for some staff who may just be driving and listening, Mothers Out Front staff listening, or veterans of moms who've already been doing this work for so long. Oh, it disappeared. What has been the best grassroots tactic used by Mothers Out Front? Ooh, I like how you flipped that one, Linda. All right, we're doing both sides. So what has been the best grassroots tactic used by Mothers Out Front? And it's hard to say the best because it's all based on our own perspective and where we were in position to the tactic, but I will be interested to hear from folks. I see Linda saying I vote postcards. I was trying to make space. I'm not the only one talking. I would say our public story of self and our narrative that we use to move decision makers. It's a great example of that in our onboarding and our welcome packet and on YouTube of our moms around gas leaks. Yep. I see Beth saying Brookline's induction cooktop campaign that donated cooktops to the Brookline Library for folks to check out. Yes, great example. Mother's Day postcards. We don't want flowers and chocolate. We want a livable climate for all children. Are there any tactics we aren't naming? I know it's midday on a Thursday, y'all. Relay across Massachusetts with actions at the gas utilities. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Okay. Neighborhood groups tag gas leaks with posters to raise awareness of danger of methane. Yes. Twitter storms that go to the gas utilities to the table in the first place. Yes, these are great. So let's shift to the second half of Linda's question is, are there any tactics that we haven't used at Mothers Out Front that you would be excited to use? And there's no pressure. No one's saying you have to put it in your campaign plans. We're just dreaming a little bit together.
Well, I can say something, Stephanie.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, being brand new, I don't necessarily know what everything that has been done. And clearly, based on Jill's comment in the chat, this has been done. But in the, you know, whole week and a half that I've been here, I've already been talking to one of my organizers who was wanting to do some visibility and bring attention to a situation with some unsafe crosswalks and, you know, making her municipality safe for, you know, forms of transportation that are not individual cars and, you know, walking and biking and whatnot. And I was like, let's not stand there with signs, man. Like, let's dress up in costumes and like be the crosswalk essentially. So I'm excited to get into some of that. I think it's, you know, it's fun, as well as like it almost inevitably gets media coverage, which lets you get your message out to a lot more people. So I'm all for it. Let's go.
Yeah, it's tough to answer this question because I don't know all of the tactics that you've all used before. But I'll just say something that I've been really excited to think about with y'all is some of the opportunities to take advantage of some of the federal funding that's coming from the Inflation Reduction Act. And so I would love to have like community listening sessions in places that may qualify for grants to see, you know, what could we do with those resources. So interested to explore that. And also, whoever has been involved in deep canvassing, I've seen it in the strategic plan. I know it's been tested out. I know that it's a tactic folks have used around the country, and I'd love to hear how it's been. So a conversation for later. That's a tactic y'all have used, though.
Thank you so much for that, Jenny. Yes, I'd love to see some more digital organizing. Bring some more moms to the movement, some listening sessions. Anyone else want to share?
I'll hop on really quick. One thing that I'm really looking forward to, Beth really touched on it, was the digital organizing and really trying to bring in like younger folks into this movement, because if that's who we're targeting and we want to like build the role up better for them, we should get them more involved. We can get activists started from as like children can come, like high schoolers, we can get involved more with the schools. I think that would be a great step. Really focusing on like building up the movement with like younger BIPOC folks.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And that is a part of our strategic plan, right? Expanding our base, building an inclusive movement. All right, so it looks like I'm just gonna ask one more time. Does anyone else have any other questions? Because we're doing kind of good on time, and I would like to move towards just our election reflection, but I just want to make space. Do folks have any other questions? Those are some great ones. right. So I'm taking smiles and nods as no. You're like, Stephanie, it's a Thursday. All right. So let's get to it. Am I doing this right? Yes, I am. Okay. All right, y'all. So in a Mothers Out Front tradition, we are about 2 to 3 weeks after we've had different elections that have occurred all over the country. So I just want to do a brief recap. For those of you that may be in the weeds, this may be a repeat for you. And for those of you like, Stephanie, I haven't had emotional capacity to check in. This may be the first time you're hearing it. So in case you didn't know, there were 24,000 school board seats that were up for election this year. And there are over 21,000 school board seats up for election next year, including the states that we organize in: New York, Virginia, Massachusetts, California, and Colorado. We know that school boards have the power to shape the curriculum, the budget, policies of our public schools, which can affect how students learn about and how they respond to climate crisis. And one of the things earlier in the year, for folks who are part of our action calls, you know that creating climate scientists is how we create the future that we desire, because the more that our children look at the world in a critically thinking way and thinking about solving some of these problems is how we can continue to resolve problems as they exist. So for those of you that like, Stephanie, I want the numbers, I try to pull some for you. So in New York, we had 2 seats that were up. In Virginia, we had about 40 seats, 10 districts. In Massachusetts, 18 seats, 6 districts. California, 144 seats, 36 districts. And Colorado, it's actually interesting how many it was, 1,000 seats and 350 districts. There are different resources and tools out that you can look up and see the scorecard of the different elected officials that you have. One of the sources that I used that I thought I put in here was Ballot Ready. And that is how we were able to get these active school board numbers here. All right, so just a brief overview. Climate villain, y'all. And for those of you like Stephanie, this is redundant. This is also, we have new hires, so we're all learning together. A climate villain is someone we know that emits large amount of greenhouse gases. They spread misinformation. They may be a climate denier, and they may have a denial about science overall. All right, if there's a climate villain that you know of locally, please share their name in the chat. Now, a climate champion is the folks that we aspire to support, and we want to make sure that are where they are so that we can move forward with the climate policies that we want. And so they're exact opposite, right? Like they want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. They want to spread awareness and education about the science of climate change, and they want to support and implement effective climate policies. So if folks can put in the chat a climate champion if they won or lost near you. And I asked for some of our staff to do that earlier this week, so I have some to share as well. This isn't like a Jeopardy quiz, y'all. We're just sharing. All right, giving folks some time. And as folks are going, I'll share a few with you. David shared earlier on a former call that he was saying that some of the climate champions, one that we know that was one of our intro videos, or no, in our 10th anniversary video, is Senator Lucas, and she represents the 8th district. Yes. And then also in California, we have Monica Montgomery, who is the supervisor for San Diego County. District 4. This is not an exhaustive list. We're not endorsing these candidates. We're just saying they're climate champions, and they happen to win this year, and we're very excited. All right, I see Becca sharing a tale. Yes, who formerly worked for Mothers Out Front and won the 2nd term. Yes, that's wonderful. All right. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna give some folks time. I'm going too fast. Let me slow down and stop getting excited. Oops, still too fast. Yep, thank you, Linda. I see Carol John. I want to say that DeRose, Towns Council, Winthrop. Okay. And this just helps us. And Julie, as we wind down at the end of the year and we want to note all of our climate champions, the more that you share, you just help us add to that list. All right, I see some folks looking like they're typing. All right, but let's just talk about some other wins, right? Because we don't only build power by having folks in office, right? That is not our only way in which we build power here at Mothers Out Front. And when I say that, I mean in regards to having climate champions and folks who are climate deniers. So when we go use our public narrative to speak to them and try to get them to move forward in accessing some of these federal funds, that they actually will receive them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's associated with a party, because as we know, not either party are always climate champions, right? Okay, so let's just talk about some of our other wins. So as some of our teams alluded to, we have had a lot of really great electric school bus wins here in 2023. I actually could have done this all the way back to 2019, but Beth said that was too much to try to fit in today's call. So we're just talking about 2023. So some great wins is in New York. Our Riverstown team celebrated the district's first electric school bus in August of this year. In 2023, Colorado received a grant around electric school bus with Green Latinos to host a series of electric school bus events. And then also in 2023, Virginia, our Fairfax and our Falls Church, Virginia worked together to purchase 3 electric school buses. And so, like I said, I could continue to ramble on all the great things we've been around ESB, but these are our wins so far for 2023. And if you're a team leader and you're like, Stephanie, I have a win and it's not listed, please share it in the chat so that Julie and myself can continue to update these slides to be a great snapshot of our work to date. All righty. Okay. So when we're wrapping up and we're talking about healthy schools, folks have asked me in 3 different ways. They're like, Stephanie, you keep talking about our healthy schools work. Can you just bullet out all the components and ways we want to protect our schools? And so I'm going to preface this that we're not expecting all schools to upgrade in all of these ways. This is a menu of options that you as a community member can determine your unique school's needs. And so with the K-12 Aspen Institute and the, I'm trying to think, Planet Ed, K-12 Aspen Institute, and there's one more coalition, they created this guide of what are all the components of healthy schools in regards to upgrading them. And so one is installing energy efficient heating and cooling systems. There's so many schools in our country that lack air conditioner or lack effective heat, even though our climate is getting colder and warming. Improving indoor air quality and ventilation. During the COVID pandemic, we saw firsthand what happens when we don't have really high quality air filtration systems. So these are some of the things that we want to ensure that schools advocate for the funds to upgrade them. Third, switching to electric school buses. I can't talk about it enough, but that is electric school buses. And that's one of the ways we want to go to idle-free schools and getting away from diesel buses. Renewable energy sources and promoting food justice like farm-to-table programs. This is something that came up in some of our earlier teams in Virginia that really wanted to create a network with some of our farmers to improve quality food in our local schools. And then the last, which is something that Tasha mentioned, was around integrating climate curriculum and environmental justice into our education system. Yes, exactly, Linda. We could do a Green Your School campaign. So all to say, this was just something to get us thinking about next year, thinking about what's at stake, the schools that we want to protect, and how we can advocate to access federal funds to upgrade our schools. And as always, the slide deck and the recording will be provided afterwards. Oops, let me go through this. And in the slide deck, I put all the wins that we've had for the year of our work. And so as far as some call to actions, there are some local appreciations going on near you. And if there's not, I would say to be determined, there may be an email coming out to tell you about a local appreciation. And then for those who are data leads, who have been through this process with us for a while, just know that we are transferring from Nation Builder into another amazing system that allows us to do all of these tactics that you all listed before in just amazing, just wonderful way we're going to be able to use this system. But what I need from you to help my mental health is I need you to submit all your 2023 data from any events before December 13th to data@mothersoutfront.org. Okay. And if you forget that and you're like, Stephanie, I forgot all of those things, no worries. Feel free to reach out to a staffer or myself, and I can be able to supply you with that information. And with that, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And we know that through all of our collective efforts, we have achieved some amazing results this year. And we have gained recognition, and we've gained more power, and we've gained more staff to support our amazing work. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being a member of Mothers Out Front.
Stephanie, could I add one thing?
Yes.
I am going to drop in the chat the link to our jobs. We still have quite a few jobs open. And so if you are somebody, if you know somebody who might be interested in joining our team, please, please, please encourage them to apply. And I'm also noticing that there is a little link broken on our WordPress. So we will be sending it out, but check our website, mothersoutfront.org, and you can look under who we are, and there are career opportunities there. So give us a little bit of time to get that link working again. I know that Julie and her team are working really hard on that. And please, please, please pass along job announcements, apply yourselves. We'd love to have more folks on our team.
Thank you for that, Beth. Perfect segue. That was a broken link in the email, but please feel free to share that with any mom leaders, momtivists, mothers and others that you know. And welcome, Jenny. Welcome, Becca. Welcome, Camille. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome, Tasha. Welcome, Bobby, who is in on the call with us. Thank you.